All right, now to start off lesson 1, we're going to do a bit of a review of what we talked about in class regarding understanding what systems of equations look like when we're graphing. So take a look at our canvas here. This is just review. Remember that a system of equations, it just means that we have more than one. And so, for instance, I could have a system of equations that involve two lines. Right now I don't really care what the equation itself is, but here's a line, and here is another line. And we said in class that there are three different things that can happen when we have two random lines. The first thing that can happen is what we see right here. We have two lines, and those lines intersect at one point. So that would be right here. We have a point of intersection. We can't have more than one point of intersection when we're dealing with lines, right? Because they go on totally straight in infinite directions, so it's never going to bend back around and cross a second time. We only ever have one point of intersection. So one thing that can happen when we have a system of two linear equations is that they can intersect at one point. The second thing that can happen is that we could end up with essentially parallel lines. So let's suppose that these two lines are parallel. What that would mean is that they will never intersect. In the language of linear systems, that means that this linear system has no solutions, because solutions happen when the lines touch. So that first example had one solution. This one has no solutions because those two lines will never intersect. Then the last possibility is that we could end up with the same line. And we know that sometimes we can end up with the same line. They might be written a little bit differently in the equation form, but when we graph them out, we find it has the same y-intercept, the same slope, so those two lines overlap completely. Now I left a little bit of a gap there so you can see the blue and pink, but assume that those are exactly the same line overlapping each other. Now in the language of a linear system, this means that we have infinitely many points of intersection. And infinitely many points of intersection means that we have infinitely many solutions to this linear system. In other words, it crosses infinitely many times, so there are infinitely many points where I could say that is a solution to the system. Okay, so those are our three possibilities. We could have one solution, that's if they cross. We can have no solutions, that's if they're parallel. And we can have infinitely many solutions. And that's if they are essentially the same line. Okay, that's just topic 1 of lesson 1 is just a review. So keep that in mind as we're talking about algebraic solutions, particularly solution method of substitution. I want you to be keeping in mind that what we're doing algebraically is finding either one solution, no solutions, or infinitely many solutions on the basis of whether or not two lines intersect once, they never intersect, or they are the same line and intersect infinitely many times. Okay, I'll stop repeating that. I think you've got it. Let's move on to the algebraic part.